like a human being not reading.
Immigrants and bounce back jobs, a bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely killing us.
Fuck.
Thank you, President Biden.
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world. He's the only one who thinks that. I think I don't know anybody else who thinks he's the greatest economy in the world. And
because yours is any better.
We find ourselves in a situation where his economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began, since Herbert Hoover.
That's not true. And it was because of COVID.
And the military.
It wasn't necessarily his fault because the states were going into lockdown.
Exactly.
He didn't do anything about that. And he was president. We were still finding ourselves in a position.
Still keep Afghanistan. Dude, you left millions of dollars, trillions of dollars worth of fucking equipment there because you were like, oh, just delivering out of Afghanistan.
Doesn't have any, this decade, there not any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can.
Am I allowed to respond to
Also,
well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give
Trump
you.
looks calmer.
I want to follow up.
Yeah.
You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
Not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cause countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit.
Yeah, because they're going to want to keep business. And it would start bringing jobs back to the United States.
because that will make prices more competitive.
Yes, 100%.
Why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down, and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bouncing
Yes,
back.
thank you. Thank you.
He inherited 9% inflation. No, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what they were doing. It was probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power.
With our equipment.
It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump, over the last
Looks like he's going to shit himself. Look at him reading the prompt.
National debt soared to record highs. And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So, former President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID.
Yes.
Even after COVID. It was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country.
Yes.
But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before, and we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID.
And then Biden shut down the fucking pipeline. Fucker.
With all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with,
And then he drained our
we gave him
strategic
something great. Remember,
reserve.
more
Yep.
people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing to
Stage presence.
and destroy our country.
Oh, hell yeah, he
President
does.
Trump, we will get to immigration later in this block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one.
Oh, here we go.
That $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 million.
But why should anyone pay that much?
in a 10-year period.
Wait, what's that?
He'd be able to wipe out his
He's talking
debt,
about how
he'd be
they're
able to
being
help
taxed at 8%
make sure
and
all
that
those
they
things
should
we
be
need
at
to
around
do,
24,
child
25.
care, elder
I'm saying,
care,
but why
making
should
sure
anyone
that
pay
we
that
continue
much?
to
Exactly.
strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. Excuse me, with
Here we go. Fumble it.
everything we have to do with.
Because even at 8%,
Look,
you're still paying.
Wait. Shh.
we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
He's going off script, motherfucker. Let him fucking talk.
And he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security.
Let him talk, because he's gonna fucking. He doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about. He's reading from a prompt, dude.
Here's the thing, it's still early game.
I know.
The longer it goes, the worse it is for.
He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be
Because I think
believed.
they're allowed, what,
Foreign
one page of
countries-
notes?
I'm
Something like
friends with
that?
a lot of
Something like
people.
that, yeah.
They cannot believe what happened to the United States of America.
Plus,
We're
don't
no
forget,
longer
he's been in
respected.
Camp David for like the past
They
week and a
don't
half
like
just
us.
practicing.
We give them everything they want.
Honestly, he
They
looks
think
like
we're
he's
stupid.
like
They think we're very
not
stupid
fully
people.
there right
He
now.
doesn't even know where he knows where. He looks like he doesn't even know where he's at.
What this man has done
Yeah.
is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President Trump. Tana?
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This morning, the court ruled
Okay.
on yet another abortion case, temporarily allowing emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would
Which, if I remember
you
correctly,
block
the
abortion
Supreme Court did
medication?
not block access
First of
to
all,
the
the
pills.
Supreme Court
Right.
just approved the abortion bill.
Yeah.
And I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives. Everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, and getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now
that's
the
just where it makes
states
the most
are
sense to
working
me
it
is
out.
at the
If you look
state
at Ohio,
Right.
it was a decision that was an end result.
Because
It was a
realistically,
little
we
bit
should
more
barely have
liberal than
any
you would have
federal
thought.
laws.
Kansas, I would
Yeah.
say the same thing.
All be state level.
Texas is different. Florida is different. But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month.
Yeah,
even
it's almost
after
full
birth.
term.
After birth. If you look
Yeah.
at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby.
Also, when they're
Meaning
not
we'll kill
answering, look at the
baby.
difference between the two of them.
I know.
What happened is we brought it
weirdly
back
down,
to the states, and the
where
country
Trump
is
still
now
maintains eye
coming
contact with his
together on
camera.
this
Right.
issue. It's been a great thing.
Or at least with the
Thank you.
moderators.
President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that the
What?
vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that they're all against it is just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor and have your and
I mean,
have
it's
him
not like there's a
decide
way to
on
tell
what your
there's
circumstances
potential
are
how that
and you
happened.
need help. The idea that
Right.
states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to
just saying.
turn civil rights back to the states. Let each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that She was murdered by an immigrant coming in.
What the fuck is he talking about?
Motherfucker.
What the
He's not
fuck?
fucking talking about this.
What is he even? What?
He's bringing up the female that got murdered
He's
by
not
an
even.
immigrant.
Yeah, he's not even talking about a fucking abortion anymore. It's not even the fucking topic.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, why is this being brought up?
There have been many young women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border.
Thank
That
you.
is a good response.
Thank you.
Dangerous place anywhere in the world. Considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world.
Biden literally just set up a fucking T for him.
Yeah, he fucking did.
And they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which frankly they didn't. But they would have. Everybody wanted it brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states, I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how
He can't
far
control his
into a
emotions
pregnancy
either.
a woman can
Look, they're going back to abortion. He went straight to fucking immigrants and murder. Oh my God.
Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. First time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between
This is the leader of the fucking free world right now.
Between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health.
Wait, he never said the politicians. He said the people.
No politician.
Look at Trump. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm.
Oh my God, dude.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth.
Yeah, you don't do that after birth. That is just killing a baby. That's, oh my God.
He's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants.
He
that
can't
to
control his
happen.
emotions. Look
Democrat
at him.
or
Yeah.
Republican, nobody wants it to happen.
And what's funny is Trump's not even attacking him.
True.
You just said, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Period, period.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion.
Yes.
You can do what
And that's why Roe v. Wade was overturned to begin with. It wasn't to abolish abortion. Medical reasons. There's a lot of reasons why you would need that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
51 years.
Well,
that was
ultimately,
law.
the big thing was
51
returning it back
years
to
Constitutional
states.
Scholarship said it was the right way to go.
That was one of the big
51
ones.
years,
Yeah.
and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court. He takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do? What's he going to do, in fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress?
Only way he
pass
should
a
respond here is,
universal ban
I'm
try
going
it
to
in a
do
minute.
nothing to it.
period, across the board, at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and
Trump
security
chose the right
concerns.
personality to come
Given
with
that,
this,
why
right?
should voters trust
Hell yeah.
you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only
Yeah, I
changed
was
all
gonna
of that,
say
but
he
made
probably
sure that
wouldn't
we
come
have
with
a
his normal
situation where
abrasiveness. He wants to
you
be
had
actual,
no
like,
circumstance where they
come
get
on,
Oh yeah, well,
professional.
well, here's the big thing is I feel like Biden was prepared for the abrasiveness, and that's why he's coming out so aggressive. But he's just looking
Like an ass.
in.
Yeah.
In addition to that, we found
Oh, fuck,
ourselves
this is
in a
good brownie.
situation where
Because think of how fast he's talking. He's not. These aren't thoughts. These are rehearsed lines.
Yeah, he's just regurgitating.
It's
He's-
what he's preparing to say.
He's not meaning what he's saying.
What's happening?
Well, he's not listening to what Trump's saying. He's responding with what he practiced to respond to.
Right.
Trump's not responding in that way.
And I'm going to continue to move until we get to
There are
total
40% fewer.
ban,
No.
the total initiative relative to
That's
what
some
we're
horse
doing,
shit.
more border patrol and more asylum officers.
What? Salomonophers.
What he said at the end of this.
Yes! Thank you!
This border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it.
Yes! Just leave it alone.
Open up our borders,
And he opened them up.
Look at just the
people that
faces
are
that he's making.
from prisons.
He's not in control of the
People that are
situation.
from
No, he's not.
institutions, insane asylum. Terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now. All terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world.
I need some milk.
From
Grab
the
some.
Middle East, everywhere, all over
Sure.
the world, they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open.
Yep.
He didn't need legislation because I didn't have legislation. I said close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the
Yes.
place, including the people that are coming up in
Thank you, President
caravans.
Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed 3 under his administration.
Oh my
Killed
God.
Al-Qaeda.
Under his administration, it could have happened under anybody's administration. It's not his fucking fault.
Well, the other big thing too, and this is what he's forgetting, and I hope Trump
That's the
brings
only
this up.
terrorist that's there.
There have been
I'm not
the
saying
reports
no
recently
terrorists
of
that
the
have
ISIS
been
agents that have
We're
gotten
not being
over.
right.
Yes.
We're welcoming these people. That's simply not
Like for him to
true.
say that
There's
the
no
only
doubt.
terrorists that have come over
What he
has been
says.
during
Once again,
Trump,
he's
like that's just
exaggerating, he's lying.
untrue.
That's just a blatant lie.
Staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses
Yeah, 'cause
are
those
citizens,
jobs belong to
including
us,
those who have lived here
to
for decades?
Americans.
And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world. And it had a
And that's the
huge
other big
impact
thing
on
too is
everything,
Trump.
not just border.
You can
on
see his
everything.
wit shining here.
He's the one that
Yeah.
kills people with the bad water, including
Because you can tell when he
hundreds of
responds in a way that
thousands
Biden
of
doesn't
people
expect. 'Cause
dying.
he has that fucking
And
look like
also
of just
killing our citizens
shock.
when
Like
they come in. We
every-
are living right now.
That's not
in
a
a
good
rat's
look.
nest. They're killing our people.
And just so
in
you know
New
where I'm trying to
York,
approach
in
this from, I'm trying to approach
California,
this just
in
from.
every state in the union, because we don't have
You know me,
borders
I am
anymore.
pro-Trump
Every state
100% of
is
the
now a
way.
border.
Right.
But I'm trying to approach
Because
this as
of
a
these
neutral viewer,
ridiculous,
where I'm just looking at
insane, very
how they're
stupid
carrying
policies.
themselves.
Yes.
People are
on-
coming
No,
in and
100%.
killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've
And
never seen
you could
before.
just see his
And you're
anger
reading it
boiling
like
up.
these
He has
3
no
incredible
control.
young
No.
girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother, and he just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's taken place in our country. We're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out. And we have
That's
to
a
get
line
them
that
out
hurt.
fast
That's a line that
because they're
stings
gonna
right there.
destroy our country.
Oh, yeah.
He
Just
doesn't
take a
want
look
it
at
this
where
way.
they're
He just doesn't
They're
know.
living in luxury hotels in New York City and
That's-
other places. Our veterans are on the
a good
street. They're
Yes,
100%.
100%.
He doesn't like the military
veterans.
at all.
We're talking about
And he
veterans.
doesn't care about our veterans.
Good.
Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's
go.
gotten rid of all the things that I approved. Choice that I got through Congress.
Yep.
All of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great
And funnily
things
enough,
that
it's
we
good
did.
that Trump's bringing this
And I
up
think
because
he
this
did it
wasn't
just
one of the
because
hot
I
button
approved
issues.
it,
I
which
don't know
is
how prepared
crazy.
Biden's going to be for
But
this.
he
Yep.
has killed so many people at our border by
Thank you,
allowing
President Trump.
all of these people to come in. And
President
it's a
Biden?
very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie.
Wow.
Who does that sound like right there?
Pastor Pat that. 1
Who
million
does
of
that
them
sound
now
like?
have Insurance and their families
Tell me.
have it. Their families have it because
Hillary.
what happened.
Oh.
Is it Hillary?
Burn pits. They're all being covered now.
Her responses was always,
Who group opposed that?
That's a
he
lie.
lied.
Yep.
We have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq.
See, he can't respond with anything that's actually.
That holds weight. Yeah.
I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died.
You left in the middle of that, you fucker. You left our troops and left the Prime Minister of France to pin our fucking troops. You asshole. Tell me you were fucking there.
My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh yeah, no. See, and that's the other thing too is Biden's making the mistake of trying to attack, where Trump isn't actually attacking him. He's criticizing him, but he's not attacking him.
Commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up.
You take him out?
Just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up.
He's
Just
fine.
like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking.
That's the thing that Biden forgets is that he can't.
Said that
He
the
can't leave
laptop
things to
was
tee
Russia
up for Trump, and that's all
disinformation.
he's
It wasn't.
doing.
Right.
It came from his son
Trump is
Hunter.
good at
It
responding
wasn't Russia
to pointed
disinformation.
things.
Oh, yeah.
He made up the suckers and losers, so he should
Biden's
apologize
smartest
to
move
me
would have
right
been to
now.
stick to policy
Four-star General
and
Stanley
not
Shire
respond to
was
him.
on your staff who said you said it. Period. That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line.
Wow.
You've done more for veterans than any president has in American
Bullshit!
And they now are in their family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families and equip them when they go to war. That's what we're doing. That's what
Another
the
thing
VA
too is
is
look,
doing now.
whenever
We're doing
Biden
more for
responds to
veterans
Trump,
than
he's
ever
looking
before
at
in our
Trump.
history.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you
Look
so
at
much.
To the topic of foreign policy, I want to begin with Russia's war against Ukraine, which is now in its third year. Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight. And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information.
You
As
need to
far as
stone face, man.
Russia
You
and
can't do
Ukraine,
that shit.
if we had a real president, the president that knew, that
Look
was
at him.
respected by Putin.
What president does that?
But
It's
he
fucking
would have
immature,
never
dude.
invaded Ukraine. A lot of people
Well, he
are
thinks
dead
it makes
right
him
now,
look
much
tough.
more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those
What he
numbers,
doesn't
maybe
realize is
triple
that's
those
smug.
numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals like I fired the one that you mentioned. And so he's got no love lost. But he should have fired those generals. No general got
And the
fired
only
for
person to
most
try to talk while the mics have been
embarrassing
muted
moment in the
has
history
been
of our
him.
country,
Right.
Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment
Oh, my
behind.
God,
we lost
dude.
13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers
Not looking
were
good for him.
obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, "You know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration.
Yeah,
This place, the
that's
whole
true.
world is blowing up under him.
President Biden?
Never
Well, I
heard
think
so
terror
much
also
from
knew
our
that
own
if they
life.
did shit,
Fact of
we'd
the matter
just
is that
fucking
we're in a
missile it
situation
into the
where,
Stone
let's take the
Age.
last point first.
Yeah.
Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it. Recently, not when he was president. They attacked.
He killed their
said they
military
just had a-
generals.
What are you
dude.
talking about, dude?
He drone struck a dude on the runway.
Yeah.
We got over
He did. He fought for our fucking
100
soldiers.
and others out of
Yeah, because he knew you
Afghanistan
didn't need
during
to
that
do
area.
big flashy
Number
things where you
three,
killed a bunch of
found
people. You just
ourselves
need
in
to
a
kill the guys who
situation
ran
where-
it.
Yes.
Take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine. This guy told Ukraine, he told Trump, do whatever you want, do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did.
What's he even
To
talking
Putin
about?
encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in. Listen to what he said when he went in. He was
Even
going to take
Trump
Kyiv in
looks
5
confused.
days,
He's like,
remember?
what?
Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish. Kyiv, and he in fact didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done, and they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
That's nothing to
President
Russia.
Trump,
I
I'm gonna
never
come back
said
to you
that.
For 1 minute, I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the
No, they're
territory
not
in Ukraine.
acceptable. No, they're not acceptable.
Thank you.
But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now.
And see,
or
I don't
more.
think. Weirdly enough, I
He's
think
given
Biden wasn't
$200
expecting that
billion.
response.
That's
No.
a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with
What are you
$200 billion.
doing?
He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war.
Yeah.
and we shouldn't
Outrageous.
be
Our
spending-
money.
It should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled. People being killed so needlessly, so stupidly, and I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
I believe that.
President Biden,
I do.
1 minute.
Yeah.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands.
That's why
of
he won't be able to end the war.
And he has made
Yep.
one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine.
Right.
That's what he wants. And then
And
you think he'll
that's
stop
why you
there?
need to be
You
a
think he'll
wall.
stop there?
Exactly. You got to be strong. And the reason why this happened is because you were fucking
What do
soft.
you think happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says,
It's already a war, dude.
Dude, he sounds like a bitch. Bitch ass Biden, dude. But if he does what he says he's going to do,
Well, the problem is he's talking about like things aren't what they are. It's already a war.
That's why we're
You know?
strong.
yeah.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and
I'm
taking
very
hundreds
curious to see how
of
Biden
hostages.
responds, because
Among
this is one of
those
those weird
held in
tightrope
Gaza
issues.
Oh, hell
Not
yeah.
tightrope issue for Trump, but it's a tightrope issue for him.
Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians.
Because you have all the
and
progressives
created
that
a
are actively,
humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
like fucking hate,
President
like
Biden,
fighting them on
You've put forward
their
a
responses.
proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages.
Yeah, 'cause they're
and
not
Israel
going to.
is continuing its military.
They're probably
offensive
already
in
dead.
Gaza. So what additional
Probably.
leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one, everyone from the United Nations Security Council straight through the G7 to the Israelis and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward.
That
It's a
doesn't mean
three-stage
shit.
That doesn't mean shit.
And also look at the fucking, what is it, the ICJ, the, what is it, the
Second
International
phase is
Criminal
ceasefire
Court or
with
whatever.
additional conditions.
Um,
The third phase is no.
they're fucking
end of the war.
issuing an arrest
The
warrant
only
for
one who wants the
Netanyahu,
war
dude.
to
They're
continue is Hamas. Number one.
talking
They're
about?
the only ones standing out. We're still.
That's like saying,
to take them
what are you
out.
going to do about it? Well, me and my parents endorse this. We're real for it. And this is what we're talking about. Like, it doesn't mean, it means jack shit.
And the other big problem is, sure they endorse it, but the one side that it actually matters doesn't.
I'm the guy that organized the world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it just stopped. We saved Israel. We are the biggest.
No one was hurt. Someone was killed.
Israel of anyone in the world. And so that's
Dude.
they're two different things.
Oh my god, oh my god. This is the leader of our country.
And I'm telling you,
I cannot believe this.
we can get Hamas like we did Bin Laden. We don't have to do it. And by the way, they've been greatly weakened, Hamas. Greatly weakened, and they should be. They should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for what using certain weapons among population centers.
See, here's the
Going back to
problem.
Ukraine for 1 second.
No, I want to hear this.
We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together have spent $100 billion, or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any. They were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that. He's getting all you got to ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them. As far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one that wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they
both
don't like
want to
him
fucking
because
fight,
he's
dude.
a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President Biden, you have a minute.
I've never heard so much foolishness. This is a guy who wants to get out of NATO. Are you going to stay in NATO? He's going to pull out of NATO. The idea that we have, our strength lies in our alliances as well. There may be a big ocean, but we're ever able to avoid a war in Europe, a major war in Europe? What happens if, in fact, you have Putin continue to go into NATO? We have an Article 5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on all. You want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about, go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine.
Well, no, he's on track to control it because of how you're functioning.
Exactly.
He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace.
No conviction in his voice at all. This is just regurgitation. He doesn't mean a damn word he says, dude.
Would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States. And they were no cars, they don't want anything that we have, but we're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything,
right,
their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question, would you guard us against Russia at a very secret meeting of the 28 states at that time, nations at that time. And they said, no, if you don't pay, I won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next month. But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's bills.
Yeah.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy.
Yep.
Former President Trump, I want to ask you about January 6, 2021.
Oh,
After
shit.
you rallied your supporters that day,
Woo!
Republicans stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated counting of electoral votes. As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest tax.
We were energy independent. We had our own pipeline. Gas was fucking lower.
We were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say, but she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this. Because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard, and she turned them down. And the mayor in writing, by the way, the mayor, in writing, turned it down, the mayor of D.C. They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see. I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her. And she now admits that she turned it down. Yep. And it was the same day she was I don't know. You can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said, "I take full responsibility for January 6th."
President Biden?
Look, he encouraged those folks to go up on Capitol Hill.
He just said he didn't. That's all he said. He did it. He did it. Where's your fucking proof, dude?
3 hours watching, begging, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being patriots and great patrons of America.
Yeah. Remember what happened in Revolutionary War, dude?
You know, they've been convicted.
More patriotic than you are, Biden. By dumb.
And say that, you know, he went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases, scores of cases, including the Supreme Court. And they said, no, this guy is responsible for doing what was done. He did do a damn thing, and these people should be in jail, and they should be the ones who are being held accountable. And he wants to let them all out. And now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that there could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people. When they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down
Seattle,
many other cities. You go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that. They saw them coming, and they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing. The Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone now, out of office, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that, they'd go to jail.
Thank you,
Yes.
President Trump. President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon, is the man I'm looking at right now.
Shouldn't have
The
gone
fact
there.
of the matter is,
Should not have
yeah,
gone there.
what he's telling you is simply not true.
Should have
The
avoided
fact
that,
is
buddy.
that there was no effort on his part.
And see, that's the other big
Stop
problem
what's
too, is that Trump isn't attacking
going on
Biden,
on Capitol Hill. And all those
and
people,
Biden's
every one
doing
of
all
them
the
was
attacking.
convicted.
It
Yeah.
Turned over
doesn't.
desks,
Yeah, it's showing this
turned over
character.
statues.
It doesn't
The
look
idea
good
that
because
those
people
people
were
are
expecting Trump
patriots?
to be the one doing
Come on.
this.
When I asked him the first
Fuck
two
Biden,
debates
idiot.
we had,
Thank
the
you,
debates we had
Brandon.
the first time around, I said, will you denounce the Proud Boy? He said,
Pin
no,
that.
I'm going to stand by. The idea he's refusing to, we
I
denounce
pinned that
these
shit on
guys?
me.
We denounce the people we're talking about now? We denounce the people who attacked that Capitol? What are you going to do?
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have. After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponent?
Well, Biden did it.
My retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again because right now it's a failing nation.
Dan, I was going to
My
answer.
retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death caused at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion or you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever
Woo!
that's quid pro quo.
Yep.
That we're not going to do anything.
Let's
We're not
go.
gonna do
Tit for
anything
tat.
Unless you change your prosecutor having to do with this.
Quid pro quo is fucking illegal too, dude.
You're lucky. You're lucky. I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, I'm coming right to you, sir. You want to respond? Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to respond.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one.
Oh, is
Number
it?
two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. is simply wrong. No
He didn't say that. He said he's going to kill him with success. It was obviously facetious, dude.
Number 3, the crimes that you are still charged with. And think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife...
Oh, I didn't know that was illegal.
What are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
Give you a minute, sir.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number 1. Number 2, that was a case that was started and moved. They moved a high-ranking official, a DOJ, into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case. That case is going to be appealed in Manhattan. We had a very terrible judge, a horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking Democrats, appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was
Biden?
But when the public found out about these cases,
wait, when I
better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about these cases, you know what they did?
I have it on VOD. We'll watch later.
You're reporting it, and we took in more money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in.
I know it was looking at some Halo screenshots. I don't think that should have bled through though, but it might have.
Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam, and it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, quote,
like, all right,
Donald
moving
Trump
on.
and his MAGA Republicans are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
The more they know about what he's done, yes.
Wow!
God.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you, dude!
He's got a whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that...
And that's the next problem is he's attacking the voters. Don't attack the voters.
Fuck you, dude. Yeah, you also said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Verbatim. That's a quote.
Because of Iraq. I said I wasn't going to run again until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying...
He's attacking the voters. That's not smart.
Torches and singing the same anti-Semitic bile they sang when back in Germany. And a young woman got killed. I spoke to the mother, and they asked him. They said, "What do you think of those people? The people the ones who got killed, the one who tried to stop it, and the ones he said, I think they're fine people on both sides." What American president would ever say Nazis coming out of fields carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas? They're fine people.
Yeah, but that's not what he said.
That is not what he said.
And that's the other problem too, is Biden's saying a lot of things that are easily proven
Wrong. Yes.
Yeah, but are the American people going to actually look this up? Like, no.
Because when you see the sentence,
It's all the younger voters
100%
that are
exoneration on that. So he just keeps it going. He says he
not
ran
gonna
because
fact check
of
any of this.
Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance.
Well, no, the problem
not
is
equipped to be president.
he's
You
opening
know
it up
and
for
I
Trump's
know it. It's
responses.
ridiculous. We
That's
have
what he's
debate.
doing.
We're trying to justify his presidency.
So I agree. Most people aren't going to look it up.
No.
Without question,
But
the worst
there-
president, the worst presidency in the history of our country. We shouldn't be having a
Debates
debate
like
about it.
this
There's
are all
nothing to
strategy.
debate.
You don't
He
want to
made
bring
up
up
the
certain
Charlottesville
things
story.
so
Right.
that it doesn't
You'll
give
see
them a
it.
chance to
He bumped
respond.
it.
Right.
Because there's certain
Every
things
anchor
that
has
there's
every
certain
reasonable
things that
anchor
Trump
has
will
debunked
never
it.
bring up
And just the other
because
day
he
it
knows
came
it'll
out
give
where
Biden
it's
a
fully
strong
debunked.
response.
Right.
It's
The problem is
a
Biden is
nonsense
bringing up
story.
a
He knows
lot
that,
of
and
things
he
that
didn't run
gives
because
Trump
of
the
Charlottesville. He
opportunity
used that
for a
as an
strong
excuse to run.
response. But he wants to get his
Debunked.
zinger
It
in,
happened.
and
All you have to do is listen to what was said at the time. And
he's
the
not being
idea that
tactical.
Somehow that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he
Bullshit.
thought they were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those woods, carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president. Didn't deserve to be president at all. And the idea that he's talking about all this being fabricated, we saw with our own eyes. We saw what happened on January 6th. We saw the people breaking through the windows. We saw people occupying his own vice president. Look, there's a reason why 40 of his 44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Thank you, President Biden. We're going to be right back with more from the CNN presidential debate.
Woo, Oh shit.
Yeah, it's not a strong start from Biden on this one.
No.
While they're doing commercials, I am gonna run and hit the head real quick.
Yeah, that's fine. It's commercial break.
Oh, okay. Well, shit. Okay, let me get Noodle tired out.
Yep. Pause the stream. We're still waiting on commercials to come back. But if you guys are watching this, comment down below what you guys think so far, or comment in the comments. Your guys' comments will pop up on our chat here. Yeah, let us know what you guys think about what's going on. Do you think that Biden's a bumbling idiot? Or don't you? What?
I said it's either you do or you do. There is no in between.
There is no other option. All right, here we go. We're back.
Welcome back to the CNN presidential debate live from Georgia. Let's talk about persistent challenges you both faced in your first terms and you'd certainly face again in a second term. President Biden, while black unemployment dropped to a record low under your presidency, black families still earn far less than white families. Black mothers are still 3 times more likely
He looks like he's about to shit himself. He's like, oh fuck.
At 5 times the rate of white
Normal look.
What do you say to black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there are more small black businesses that have been started than any time in history.
Back, what I missed.
Number two,
They asked
black unemployment is the lowest.
About black voters.
no, about
Number
how
two,
that there's still there we go, yeah.
providing housing for black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among.
Let's talk about black voters. Oh, they are black voters. I was wrong. All right, I'll admit it. Sorry.
I assume his response has primarily been, well, no, we have done a lot.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
choice
that's not what you
black
want to do.
families have to make relative to childcare
Because
is incredibly difficult. When we did the
when
first
people are
piece of
having
legislation
trouble,
in the past, I was able to reduce black
you don't
childcare costs. I cut them in half. In half. We got to make
You
sure
don't
Yeah, you don't want to
minimize it.
sit there and say, well, look at everything I have done already.
Right. That's
Yeah,
fucked
like,
up.
It's insulting.
It is insulting.
because more people can be in the
You don't
in the job
minimize
market.
it. You need to respond to what
More to be done.
the problem is.
But
Oh
I've
my
a great
God.
deal so far, and I'm not letting up.
Oh no.
You have 49 seconds left. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed with the progress so far?
I say I don't blame them for being disappointed. Inflation is still
Okay.
hurting them badly. For example, I provided for the idea that any black
You just said earlier that there wasn't inflation, that this was the best economy ever.
to be able
Yeah.
to buy their first home, so they can get started. I made sure that we're in a situation where all those black families and those black individuals who provided had to take out student loans that were ballooning, that if they were engaged in
Everyone says that's a scam too. They only offer to pay after they've paid most of their fucking shit back. There was no relief.
from student debt, all the rest was forgiven after 10 years. Millions have benefited from that, and we're going to do a whole lot more for black families.
Thank you,
Okay.
President.
And he caused the inflation. He's blaming inflation, and he's right. It's been very bad. He caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
People, they can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the
Nobody
cost of
can
food,
anymore.
which
No.
tripled and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore.
And this
He
is definitely
caused
one of
this
the areas where
inflation. I gave
Trump
him
definitely has an easier
a
time to
country
respond
with
because
essentially no inflation.
Yup.
It was
so the tightrope
perfect. It was so
that
good. All
Biden
he had
has to
do is
walk
leave
right
it
now
alone.
is
he destroyed it with his
things
Green
did
New
get
scam
fucked
and
up
all of the
under
other-
him.
All this money that's being thrown out the
But
window.
he can't
He
say
caused
I
inflation.
fucked up
As sure as you're sitting there,
because
the
once you
fact
say I
is that
fucked up,
his big
you're
kill
kind of throwing
Mhm.
into
on the black
question.
people is the
Well, why
millions
should
of
I
people
vote for
that he's
you if you
allowed to
fucked
come
it
in
up?
through the border. They're taking
Yep.
black jobs now.
Know what I mean?
And it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black
And this is what
jobs,
makes
and
when
they're
Trump
taking
was
Hispanic
visiting
jobs.
the
And you haven't
Bronx
seen
and
it yet,
all those other
but you're gonna
areas,
see
such a
something
strong
that's gonna
thing
be
for him
the worst
Right.
that Biden
Thank you.
can't say,
President Biden?
well, you don't know, you haven't
There
talked to
was
them.
no inflation when I became president. You know why? The economy was flat on its back. 50% unemployment. He
Here we go.
decimated the economy. Absolutely
No, he did
decimated.
No, he did not.
That's why there's no inflation.
There was no inflation
There were no
because there wasn't
jobs.
inflation.
Dude, I got
Thousands of millions of jobs.
so many people around me got actual work during that
Make
time.
sure that they have health insurance. We have covered. If the ACA has
The other
big-
problem too
to
is
make
with a lot of
sure
the
that
numbers that
there's
they're looking at,
$8,000 per
they're not
person in
accounting
the family.
for. Well, I think
Get
the
written
polls
off
are,
for
but not
healthcare.
him and
This
his
guy wants to
responses.
eliminate that. They
They're not
tried 50
accounting for
times.
the fact
He
that
wants to get rid of the ACA again.
more
gonna
jobs
try again
doesn't
for you.
always
find
translate
ourselves in a
over
position
because
where
it could be people
the
with second or
idea-
third jobs.
Right.
We're not doing
attempting to
that.
afford
I
stuff.
put more- we put more
Babe,
police on
can
the
you have some of your
street
water?
than any administration has. He wants to cut the costs.
Thank you.
We're providing for equity and making sure people have a shot to make it. There's a lot going on.
Trump has never
And
talked about
inflation,
cutting law enforcement. What is he
caused
talking
it
about?
By his tremendous amount.
I
Never.
can't think of a time that he called for cutting
No.
law enforcement.
He never did.
Another persistent challenge is
Wait,
the crisis.
defunding FBI and all that stuff. He's
2023 was the
lumping in law
hottest
enforcement
year
with
in
federal
recorded
office
history,
or
and
federal
communities
stuff.
across the country are confronting the devastating
Thank you.
effects of extreme heat, intensifying wildfires, stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Former President Trump, you've vowed to end your opponent's climate initiatives, but will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
Well, let me just go back to what he said about the police, how close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group.
Yeah.
And what he's
And
done
that's
to the
one of the
black
things he can't argue.
population
But
is horrible, including the
this
fact
is
that
where
for 10
Biden
years
is
he
just
called them
inherently
super
flawed
predators.
right
We
now.
can't- in
Is
the
he's
1990s, we can't forget that.
he's teeing
Super
Trump
predators
up
was
because
his
he's
name.
not.
Yeah.
Called it to him,
He's not being
and they're
tactical
taking
about
great
anything.
No, he's just
Now they see
fucking trying to say
And-
anything and everything.
They see what I did
And
for
whoever
criminal
helped prep
justice
him,
reform
they-
and for the historically black colleges.
I
and
don't know what they
universities,
did wrong,
where I
but
funded
they
them and got
just
them all
left
funded.
so
And the
much
opportunity
on the
zones
table
with-
as far as
with
giving
Tim,
Trump
as
the
you know,
opportunity
Tim
to
Scott
respond.
is incredible.
Right, but then they're gonna say, "Look, we're asking about climate crisis, and he's talking about this. Watch, it's gonna happen."
It's a great idea. It's one
Yeah.
of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country. Opportunity zones. and the biggest beneficiary are blacks, and that's why we have the best numbers with them.
That was another big thing too, is
maybe
those
ever.
opportunity
They're saying
zones.
ever.
That
I
actually
read
did a
this morning
lot.
where ever the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population because he's done a horrible job for black people. He's also done a horrible job for Hispanics. But wait till you see these millions of people pouring into our country, and they're going to take the jobs, and it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet. It's a disaster.
38 seconds left. President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever.
Yeah.
And we were using all forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage, actually.
I don't know where the hell he's been. The idea that anything he said is true. I passed the most extensive
Yeah, and look at all of the lithium-ion battery cars that are sitting and rotting, and all the fucking mines for lithium mines that you're fucking digging up. It's destroying our environment more than just a fucking pipeline, you fuck. And you killed jobs. You killed those jobs, dude.
Laboratories and the like. Any black student is capable in college of doing any white student can do. He doesn't have the money, but now they'll be able to get those jobs in high tech. We're in a situation where the idea.
What I would point to is the significant amount of accidents that have been going on from rail lines.
Oh, that too.
Think of all the different chemical spills that have happened.
Yep. Yeah, in Arizona and in Ohio.
I believe it was Ohio. Because that's his administration's. What's his fucking name? Buttigieg.
Is climate change.
The guy who's in charge of transportation.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
The Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing. It was a ripoff of the United States, and I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horribly.
I hope he words it the way that I would personally word it.
Nobody else was paying into it.
Is that
it was a disaster.
When it comes to these climate things, we can't be the only people paying into it.
Insulin.
Right.
I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors. I took care of the seniors. What he's doing is destroying all of.
Yep, that too. There we go.
Migrants coming in.
Oh my God, it's his slow turnaround of looking like blankly.
And I want to take care of people. But we're destroying our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals, and they're going to be taking over Social Security. He is destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
Yes. 100%.
The idea is that we, in fact, we were the only ones of consequence who were not members of the Paris Accord. How can we do anything if we're not able to, the United States can't get its pollution under control? One of the largest polluters in the world, number one. We're making significant progress.
We've gotten it pretty under control.
Yeah.
We will have cut pollution in half. We have made significant progress. And we're continuing to make progress.
It's mainly fucking giant corporations that are polluting. Fucking 80+% of all the pollution in the world comes from big corporations, not from us at home.
Elements of cause of pollution. But the idea that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and he's really concerned about pollution and about
more than you.
I've not seen any indication.
Really? Please talk about all the fucking lithium mines and the lithium cars that you don't know what the fuck to do with because you're trying to go with this new Green Deal.
Reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, voluntarily. I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company, cannot have to pay. And by the way,
so every day, millions of just to make ends meet. For many
that's another thing too. Is Trump? He'll power through some of the and by the way, or he'll power through those and by the way.
Right.
Social Security seniors will see their benefits cut.
It looks better
in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social Security solvent?
Woo! Let's go.
very wealthy began to pay their fair share.
Okay.
Oh, please. You know that you're just going to send that fucking money to fucking Ukraine. You're fucking or fucking elsewhere to some other fucking country, dude. That's such a fucked up lie.
I'm proposing that everybody, they pay, the millionaires
He's
pay
struggling
1%,
through this answer.
1%. So no one after I would not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody after that it began to make the wealthy begin to pay their fair share by increasing from 1% beyond to be able to guarantee the program for life.
So you still have 82 seconds left. Are there any other measures that you think that would be able to help keep Social Security solvent, or is that one enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent, but the biggest thing will do it.
It's too expensive of a program.
Yeah.
The way that it's set up, it's just inherently
plenty
flawed.
to cut in Social Security. He's wanting to cut Social Security.
I understand why we have it, but the setup is inherently flawed.
Yes.
The program put forward by the House Republican caucus that he, I believe, supports is in fact want to cut it as well. The idea that we don't need to protect our seniors is ridiculous.
What?
And by the way,
Well, because they like to try to say that because we want to adjust or cut Social Security, that it means we want to throw seniors into the wind. But that's the problem is it's an inherently flawed program, and they're trying to keep an inherently flawed program around, saying, well, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
But why not just make a better
The
program?
other thing is, we're in a situation where we talk about education for black communities. I've raised the...
All right, way to go off topic, dog.
He's going back to the...
Another $8,000. So anybody making under $70,000 a year is going to be able to get $15,000 toward the tuition. He just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He can look you in the face. About so many other things too. And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine. Everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total lie on the military. It's a disgrace. But Social Security, he's destroying it because millions of people are pouring into our country, and they're putting them onto Social Security. They're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid. They're putting them in our hospitals. They're taking the place of our citizens. What they're doing to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels.
Yep.
He doesn't know what he's doing, and it's really coming back. I've never seen such anger.
Now, one big thing to keep in mind with that too, though, is those are state-level issues, not necessarily federal level. With the immigrants staying in hotels, those are state programs.
Yeah, but it's also because each
Oh, no,
doesn't know what to do with them.
Oh yeah, no. I'm just adding a clarification point.
Yeah. Okay.
That Biden doesn't have a good response to it, but Trump is hitting good things with that.
Right.
We're going to be in a situation where
It's just that's something that I would point out is that those are state-level things that are occurring there.
illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world. The reason why we have the most successful economy in the world.
No, we do
We're
not.
doing better than any other nation in the world.
No,
And by the
we
way,
are not.
those 15 Nobel laureates he talked about being phony. Those 15 Nobel laureates, economists, they all said that if Trump is reelected, we're likely to have a recession. And
Please, God, I hope so.
By
Let
the way,
let me buy a house.
59 presidential scholars
So
voted.
dumb.
I'm serious.
President in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of child care, which many American families struggle to afford. President Trump, both you and President Biden have tried to address this issue, but the average cost of child care in this country has risen to more than $11,000 a year per child for many families.
Oh,
The cost of child
The FBI during the strike, they were no
Sorry.
good. Not easy to fire people. You pay a price for it, but they were no good. I inherited these people. I didn't put him there. I didn't put Comey there. He was no good. I fired him. This guy hasn't fired anybody. He never fired. He should have fired every military man that was involved with the Afghanistan.
all right. This is where it's kind of.
show.
I don't agree with him going back to this.
He didn't fire. Did you fire anybody?
Yeah.
Did you fire anybody?
He should be. I mean, he was doing really good. I think he should have just talked about making childcare.
18 million people, many from prisons, many from mental institutions. Did you fire anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed?
He's starting to get
Joe,
sidetracked
our
himself.
country is being destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president. He just said about me because
Damn it.
he said it.
I don't know. He kind of
Look, he's the
turned it
worst
around a little
president
bit
in
right
the
there.
history of our country.
Yeah.
He's destroyed our country. Now all of a sudden he's trying to get a little tough on the border. He came out with a a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit, like this much. It's insignificant.
Like
He wants
this
open
much.
borders. He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters. And I don't think we just can't let it happen. If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance, of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He is the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We're the most admired country in the world. We're the United States of America. There's nothing beyond our capacity. We have the finest military in the history of the world. The finest in the history
problem
of the world.
is,
No one thinks we're weak. No one.
Everyone thinks you're weak, you dumb fuck.
Number two, the idea that we're talking about worst presidents. I wasn't joking. Look it up or go online. 159 or 58, don't hold me the exact number, presidential historians, they've had meetings and they voted who's the worst president in American history. One to best to worst. They said he was the worst in all of American history.
So are we ignoring Herbert Hoover?
Right. Are we gonna? Yeah, exactly.
The idea that he is doing anything to deal with child care. He did virtually nothing with child care. We should significantly increase the child care tax credit. We should significantly increase the availability.
No more fucking taxes.
Of single parents to be able to go back to work.
No, that's not what he said. Tax credit. That's what he was talking about.
The whole
all right.
That was the thing that Trump had initially put in during COVID.
What would you do to make child care more affordable? If you want to take a minute.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is.
Oh my God, dude! All right, let it go. Let it go. I would have gone. Oh my God,
he needs to move on. He's starting to get. This is the mudsling that people were
Nobody's
expecting.
ever created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times. He wants the Trump tax cuts to expire. So everybody, including the two of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life, I'd grow up and I'd see politicians talking about cutting taxes. When we cut taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all these companies, they were bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
President Biden?
Look, fact of the matter is,
Biden found what he was been looking for, the thing that gets under his skin.
He will increase the taxes on middle-class people. I said I'd never raise a tax on anybody making less than $400,000. I didn't. But this tariff is 10% tariff. Everything coming in the country, you know what the economists say? That's going to cost the average American $2,500 a year more because they're going to have to pay the difference in food and all the things that were important.
He's fine.
Two, he's in a situation where he talks about how he has not raised, he somehow helped the middle class. The middle class have been devastated by you. Now you want a new tax cut of $5 trillion over the next 10 years, which is going to fundamentally bankrupt the country. You have the largest deficit of any president in American history, number one. Number two, you have not, in fact, made any contact.
Trump's like, I'm not going to look at you, dude.
We are the lowest trade deficit with China since 2010.
Thank you, President Biden. Thank you, President Biden. Let's discuss the epidemic impacting millions of Americans that both of you have made a top priority in your first term, the opioid crisis. And for both of you, the number of overdose deaths in this country has gone up. Under your term, it went up. Under your term, it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite the efforts that both of you have made, more than 100,000 Americans are dying from overdoses every year, primarily from fentanyl and other opioids. What will you do to help Americans right now in the throes of addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
To finish up, we now have the largest deficit in the history of our country under this guy.
Oh, dude.
Deficit with
what happened?
He gets paid by China. He's
Trump needs to move on. Like, I was starting to look bad on him.
But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries, and there was more to come, but he hasn't done that. But he hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't, because it's too much money. But he's got the largest deficit in the history of our country, and he's got the worst situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
So, President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Jake, we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along. We had the 2.5
opioid crisis has been a thing
like
since
nobody's
before you
ever
were president,
had
man.
before,
That's
any
not the right
country, in every
response.
way. And then we had to get tough, and it was the drugs pouring across the border it started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog that's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen, the way they can spot it. We did a lot, and we were getting very low numbers.
And see, this is one of the areas where I think Trump's missing is because the opioid crisis was more of a prescription medication problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Like with all the pill mills and stuff like that. I think what's that fucking big pharmaceutical company they had that?
Yeah, Pfizer?
Yeah, no, not Pfizer.
Bayer?
Across our border, the worst
May
thing
have been
I've ever
them.
seen.
I forget which one, but I know they recently were found liable and had to do a large payout.
But the number
He wants
recently, as in like last
across
couple
our
years.
border now is the largest we've ever had by far.
President Trump, thank you. President Biden?
Fentanyl and the byproducts of fentanyl went down for a while. And I wanted to
For a while.
use the machinery that can detect fentanyl. These big machines that roll over everything that comes across the border. And it costs a lot of money. That was part of this deal we put together, this bipartisan deal.
It wasn't.
More fentanyl machines, more be able to detect drugs.
Fentanyl machines. Wow.
Of agents, more numbers of.
See, he doesn't know how to describe what he's talking about.
No.
Done, he called his Republican colleagues and said, "Don't do it. It's going to hurt me politically." No, he never argued it's not a good bill. It's a really good bill. We need those machines. We need those machines.
Honestly, I don't think either one of them know what they're talking about when it comes to
The opioid crisis. No.
Yeah, like what kind of fucking.
They're focusing on fentanyl coming up from the border, which yes, that's a problem. But the opioid crisis
Thank you,
is
President Biden. President
multifaceted. There's some of it that comes from that, but a lot of it comes from the abuse of pharmaceutical medications.
Because this does pertain to it. He ended Remain in Mexico. He ended catch and release. I made it catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so many things that we had done, hard negotiations with Mexico, and I got it all for nothing. It's just like when you have a hostage. We always pay $6 billion for a hostage. Every time we say it's a hostage. Now we have a hostage, a Wall Street Journal reporter. I think a good guy, and he's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars
Right.
for the reporter. I will have him out very quickly, as soon as I take office. Before I take office, I said by literally as soon as I win the election, I will have that reporter out. He should have had him out a long time ago, but Putin's probably asking for billions and billions of dollars because this guy pays it every time. We had 2 cases where we paid $6 billion for 5 people. I got 58 people out, and I paid essentially nothing.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
Let's turn to concerns that voters have about each of you. President Biden, you would be 86 at the end of your second term.
Fuck.
How do you address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world?
And this is a touchy subject for Biden, so I'm curious to see how he's going to respond.
I spent half my career being criticized being the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent. I think that just look at the record. Look at what I've done. Look how I've turned around the horrible situation he left in.
So the question was, Brett, how does Biden address concerns about his capability to serve as president in his 80s?
America, over billions of dollars.
He's 86.
He'll be 86 at the end of the next term. He's not currently 86, but he'll be 86. That means he's 82 right now.
We invented those chips, and we lost it because he was sending people to find the cheapest jobs.
What's he even talking about?
I don't even know.
So
Even Biden, Trump is like,
he's not talking about. He's not just the concern. He's talking about the fucking chips now.
Guess what? Those
computer
fabs
chips.
They call them, to build these chips.
And then stutter.
Those fabs pay
He's
over
not doing anything to
$100,000.
dissuade the
You don't need
concern of
college
that
to do
question.
for them.
Oh my God. If anything, this proves.
$1 million already being invested and being built right now in the United States, creating significant jobs for Americans from all over the world.
what?
President Biden, you have 40 seconds left.
The idea that somehow we are this failing country.
What?
Yep. He forgot what the question was.
Name me a single major country president who wouldn't trade places with the United States of America for all our problems and all our opportunities. We're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done. We're the strongest country in the world.
Oh my God, this is hilarious.
All of our allies and our those who
Definitely over 40 seconds, but okay.
Kim Jong-un, we sent love letters to, and Putin, etc. They don't want us.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
He went off
Former
track.
President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams.
See, Trump does better when he does the weird little jabs like that.
We knock on wood.
Yeah.
When he turns his entire question into entire response into an attack, that's when he trails off and rambles.
Yeah.
2 regular club championships.
Trump does better
To
with
do
the little
that, You
jabs.
have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm
He's
as
also
in good
staying
shape
on
as I was
question.
25, 30
Again,
years
yeah,
ago.
he got a little off there for a little bit.
But I'm in as good a shape as I was.
He
years
stayed more
ago.
on
I
the
feel very
Biden
good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced them. Dr. Ronnie Jackson.
And I don't think the golf thing was that off
great guy when he
base
was White House
because
doctor. And then I took another one, a similar one.
capability
One
goes
of them
beyond
said
just
they'd never
mental;
seen
it also
anybody
goes to
ace it.
physical.
Right.
Thank you. President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 225 pounds, or 35 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what you're.
He's misremembering
Just
what he
take a look
said.
at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6.
And now they're comparing golf scores.
I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag.
Oh my God.
You do
Nobody
it?
cares about golf.
He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was at 8 handicap.
Oh my
They
God,
turned on his light.
they're actually comparing golf scores.
Oh my God, dude.
Fucking dying. Holy
What's the
shit.
concern that voters have about you?
Oh my
Will you
God.
pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins? And
Don't answer that.
you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable.
Don't answer
Well, I
that.
shouldn't have to say that, but of course
Thank
I believe
you.
that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement
That
that I
was
made in
such
the
a
Rose Garden, you would say it's
smooth
one of the
fucking
strongest
answer right
statements
now.
you've ever seen. In addition
Yeah,
to the
I was
speech I
I was kind of
in
concerned with
front
how
of,
he
I believe, the
responded to that one.
largest
But
crowd
Yeah.
I've ever spoken
Yeah.
to, and I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people
the
that
problem
went to
is,
the
if
Capitol,
he's smart,
and
he
in
should
many
have shut
cases
the fuck
were
up by
ushered
now.
in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her
At least smart about answering
responsibility,
this
not
question.
mine. She
I would've
said
shut
that
the fuck
loud
up
and
by now.
clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent, because he indicted me because I was his opponent. I wish he was a great president. I would rather have that. I wouldn't be here. I don't mind being here. But the only reason I'm here is he's so bad as a president that I'm going to make America great again. We're going to make America great again. We're a failing nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation. And we're a failing nation because of him. His policies are so bad. His military policies are insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very close to World War III, and he's driving us there. And Kim Jong-un and President Xi of China, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, all of these, Putin, they don't respect him. They don't fear him. They have nothing going with this gentleman, and he's going to drive us into World War III.
You want a World War III, let him follow and win, and let Putin say, do what you want in NATO. Just do what you want.
let
President
Putin
Article
say just do
5,
what you want.
Attack
Like,
on one is attack on
That's
all.
his response.
Required response.
yeah,
The
that's
idea.
he
I can't
misspoke.
think of a single major leader in the world who wouldn't trade places with the job I've done, what they've done. Because we are a powerful nation. We have wonderful people. It's because of the people, not me. It's because of the American people. They're capable of anything, and they step up when they're needed. And right now, we're needed. We're needed to protect the world because of our own safety is at stake. And again, you want to have a war.
And see, so many people are tired or sick and tired of being the world police, and yet Biden's just trying to hammer out, we're world police.
Then you have a war.
President Trump, as I come back to you for a follow-up, the question was, will you accept the results of
He already
this
responded.
election, regardless of who wins?
Just to finish what he said, if I might, Russia,
Jesus.
they took a lot of land from Bush.
They're still
They
trying
took
to get a
lot of
specific
land
answer
from
out of him.
Obama
Right.
And Biden.
Well, they're also
He already answered the question.
Yeah, he
You're
should.
right. They're searching for a specific answer.
right, and he's deflecting, and he
answered
doesn't need to answer this question.
Not to play games.
Yeah.
He took nothing from me.
The deflection
Now
makes
he's gonna
sense,
take
but
the whole
yeah,
thing
no.
from
He already
this man
responded to it. That was
That's
the
a war
first
that should have never started.
like
It
5
would have
sentences
never
of
started
the last
ever
time he spoke.
with me.
Yep.
And he's going to take Ukraine. And you asked me a question before. Would you do this with? He's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine and Russia, because Ukraine's not winning that war. He said, "I will never settle until such time." They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's so sad. They've lost so many people, and they've lost those gorgeous cities with the golden domes that are 1,000 years old, all because of him and stupid decisions. Russia would have never attacked if I were
President Trump,
president.
the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these.
Yeah, he's saying the same thing
the
over.
fraud and
Yeah, he already
everything else
responded.
was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely. There's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to a very high level.
And see,
because
that's the other thing
people
too
understand it.
that Biden is
Let's see
going to
what
run
your
into
numbers
is that
are
most of these
when this
indictments and
election is
stuff
over.
happened later
Let's
into
see.
his term and not
You're
immediately
whining.
after, so it
When you lost
does
the first
look
time,
more like what
you
Trump
you
is saying.
continued,
Yeah.
you appealed and
Whether
appealed
it's true or
and
not,
appealed
that's
across
what
the
it looks
country.
like.
Not one single court in
Called him a whiner.
said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to provoke.
Well, and the thing that they're forgetting too is
Wow,
basically
somehow
every
all
single
this
election has ended with a
representation
lot of
always
legal
stands.
challenges.
There's no evidence
Like
of that at
every
all.
single one.
And I tell you what,
It's
I
common.
doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner.
Oh
the
my
idea if you lose
god.
again, you accepting anything, you can't stand the loss. Something snapped in you when you lost the last time.
And the other thing
We'll
too
be
is
right
Biden's
back
resorting to name calling.
With more from the CNN president.
How long is this, man?
Live from Georgia.
It's supposed to be
90
90 minutes. Yep.
Hour and a half?
Yep. So it's probably gonna be another 10 to. It's probably gonna be another 10 to 20 because I don't know how long the last ad break was, but probably another 10 to 20.
Wow, you can't do math.
Wow, thanks, Britt. Vince knows that I only failed algebra once, okay?
I actually did not know that.
Oh, yeah, Neo's made me take his class twice.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go take a shot.
Alright.
Fuck you. I wanted to call off tomorrow so I could do this with you, but no.
It's not my fault you have
It is your fault, because if I didn't have you, I wouldn't. I love you.
If you didn't have me, you wouldn't have any sick time at all. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I misspoke.
You working tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a half day though.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave, go in, start at 6, leave like at 10. I'll probably be home before noon, so
That's not bad.
no. Hopefully my boss won't be there. No, I'm serious. I think he's going to a funeral, and he never calls off. Everyone's gone, so I don't know if he will or won't, but I'm really hoping that he won't be there.
Make it easy for you to take the half day.
Yes. Yes.
No, that's why I was laughing.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, dude, you unlocked a lot of achievements last night.
What, on Halo?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Granted, a lot of them were like simple ones, but you unlocked a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You unlocked 10 achievements.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I told you, I've been getting the itch, man.
I'm glad you liked the game, dude, because Halo has solid gameplay.
It really does, though. I was, like I told you, I was pleasantly shocked with that shit.
Yep. And you know what I enjoy about Halo compared to Call of Duty?
What's that?
I enjoy the verticality of it.
Okay.
Well, because think of it, the maps weren't just big, they were tall.
Right.
Remember all the high ground there was in like some of the big team battle maps?
That is true.
It adds an interesting dynamic to it. Also, isn't no fall damage nice?
Yes. No, 100%. I meant to mention that last night. Yeah, that's
almost
really
every
nice.
game you've played has fall damage, right?
Yes.
You can do some epic shit with no fall damage.
Yeah, the only one that didn't have fall damage was Apex.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I'm down to play more. Hopefully, if this ends tonight, like, early enough,
Yeah, it should end in the next 10 to 20.
I'll be able to fucking hop on for a couple.
Yeah. You know what's a really fun one that they have, too?
What's that?
They have a PvE mode. It's 4-player co-op. It's King of the Hill Firefight.
Okay. King of the Hill sounds like fun, too. I was kind of looking into that.
Oh, you know what's a really fun version of King of the Hill they have?
Brad, it's back on!
I'll tell you after this.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, closing statement. So this should be...
A coin toss. We're going to begin with you, President.
Yeah, probably in the next 10 minutes is when this is ending.
We've made progress left by President Trump in his last term. We find ourselves in a situation where, number one, we have to make sure that we have a fair tax system. I ask anyone out there in the audience or anyone out watching this debate, do you think the tax system is fair?
No.
The fact is that
Yeah, the tax system is not. The current tax system is not fair. You will get that response from basically everyone. But where the disagreement comes is how to make it fair.
Right.
But this guy is...
I'm personally, if you ask me, it should just be straight usury taxes.
Yeah.
He's increased inflation because of the
Well, because at that point, it's who's deciding to spend money. The people who are poorer won't be taxed as much until they decide to spend money. Where wealthy people, they spend a lot of money, so they'll be taxed significantly more.
Right.
For example, he wants to get rid of the ability of Medicare for the ability.
He's struggling. His closing statement.
Oh, this is closing?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is their closing statements.
We got it down to $35.
See, but this is Biden's weak point: is he struggles to talk.
For every senior, no matter what.
And the other problem is with how fast he's talking. He needs to slow his cadence down.
That reduced the federal debt by $160 billion over 10 years. Because
what's going on is his mouth is moving faster than his brain. Because I've been in that type of situation before where I try to talk, and you know me, I'm a pretty fast talker.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of times when I start to stutter, it's because I talked faster than where I've thought. So I know the struggle of what's going on. Granted, with him it's probably more of an age thing, but I know that struggle.
For people across the country.
And he needs to slow his cadence down.
And give people a break.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, you now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Let's go.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything. All he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to pour in. Our military doesn't respect him. We look like fools.
Look at the difference in speech cadence between Trump and him.
Yeah. It's such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke, Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terror, no money whatsoever.
Hezbollah.
Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He talks about all this stuff, but he didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians and we have everybody else rioting all over the place. You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville.
Yeah.
The whole
Thank you.
country is exploding because of you. Because they don't respect you. And they
Especially in
have to
the
respect
college
their president.
campuses.
Yep.
They don't respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military.
Spoons in
we got the
here?
largest tax cut in history.
Yeah,
the
I brought
largest
'em in
regulation cut in
to
history.
Occupy
The reason
Noodle.
he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs. But he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's never seen anything like. Even from a medical standpoint, Right to Try, where we can try space-age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get when you're terminally ill. Now you can go and you can get something. You sign a document. They've been trying to get it for 42 years. But you know what we did for the military?
Going overseas to get
incredible
medication.
for our soldiers, where our soldiers,
Not just
instead of
medication,
waiting
but
for
to
3
like
months to see a doctor,
peacefully
can
end your
go out
life,
and
right?
get themselves
I
readied up
don't know.
and take care of themselves, and they're living, and that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Woo!
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden. Stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate.
No, I ain't watching that
That's
shit.
it.
Burnett starts now on CNN.
That's the end, guys.
Goodbye. Fuck.
Yep, that's the end.
The pan. The pan over of them.
Shit.